Students, I am Dr. Aritra Acharya, Assistant Professor of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, Kuchbiar Government Engineering College. We are going to start the lectures on biomedical electronics. Before starting the lectures, let me give you the reference books from which I will take the information in order to teach this subject. These are the four primary books you can follow. Out of those, the first book is the most suitable for your curriculum. I will follow most of the chapters from the book of C.R. Rao and S.K. Guha in this course curriculum. Let me start with the introductory chapter. At first, we must know the electronics and medicines and interrelation between them. Now, electronics for hospitals and health is a hot subject today. Nowadays, immense progress in the electronic technologies gives us various methods, various instruments and various techniques by which we can support the health sector. It is a new market for manufacturing companies, especially the electronic instrumentation companies. Okay. Now, there are several scopes of innovations for the researchers as well as the inventors, because in the medical field there are several sectors where the support is needed for the physicians or the doctors, which can be provided by different electronic instruments, and those are all can be newly designed, newly invented, and can be deployed for giving the support for a particular medical sector. So it is a emerging scope for the researchers or inventors in order to carry out research in the field of biomedical electronic field. It is an additional and effective tool for the physicians. It is obvious that physicians can treat the patient or can diagnose the patients by means of several electronic instruments, which are nothing but the additional and effective tool. Okay. And lastly, we can say for the administrators point of view, new department is introduced in each hospital. Okay. It is known as the biomedical electronics department, which is essential for most of the hospitals nowadays. Now let me discuss about what is biomedical electronics or medical electronics. Although the medicines and electronics are not the new subjects, but medical electronics is a new subject. Okay, it is just you can say 20 years or 25 years old in age. It is a very emerging and prospective subject which will be more explored in future. It is an extension of physicians' ability to diagnose an ailment or treat and treat it. Okay, it is an extension, means it is an additional support for the physicians in order to diagnose or treat on particular disease. Without electricity, physicians can do some mechanical activities like give anesthesia, measure blood pressure, tie of blood vessels, scrap tissues, etc. Those are all the mechanical activities which can be done without the use of electricity. But with the use of electricity and some biomedical instruments, the major advantages are physicians can study the patients before the surgery by using X-rays and monitors which display the physiological parameters, make blood analysis, can perform complex and extracting surgical procedures. Some examples are spot weld a corona transplant, observe and repair the stomach or the bladder from outside with a luminous light, repair a malfunctioning heart, etc. Those are all can be done by using specific electronic techniques, by using specific electronic instruments. Okay, so these are actually the additional support for the physicians in order to treat or do surgery on the patients. Some other aspects are thus the electronics supplies tools which are the aids for treating the patients. It is obvious. Use of computers greatly benefits the patients. Use of computers actually enables the physicians to have the good analysis of data, and in order to take the decisions by visualizing the data in different forms. One thing must be remembered, computers will provide a more comprehensive representation of data to aid the physician, not replace him or her. It is the most important point. Computer-based biomedical electronic instruments will provide the data in such a way that it will ease the treatment as well as the diagnosis of the patients. But it is not capable of replacing the physician's work. Okay, so it is the most important point in order to understand the medical electronics. Now let me discuss what medical electronics is not. Okay, it is not the replacement of doctor, nurse and the laboratory technicians. One must remember that the jobs done by the doctors, nurses as well as the laboratory technicians cannot be replicated by using any instrument, any electronic instruments. So the instruments are for assisting the doctors, nurses as well as the laboratory technicians. Those are not used for replacing them. Okay, it requires periodic maintenance, repairs as well as overhauling. It is obvious because those are the artificial instruments. That's why repair, maintenance etc. are very much essential, and periodic calibration is also very much essential. It cannot diagnose the patients proficiently. It cannot directly treat the patients. That means instrumentations, electronic instruments which are used for the medical electronics purpose are not capable of treating or diagnosing the patients directly. Those require the intervention of the doctors. We must remember this fact. Means hierarchy of organization. Human body is a source of numerous signals highly significant for diagnosis and therapy. Its internal communication system provided by the nervous system is based on transmission of electrical impulses which results in the coordinated activities of the human body. Within the human body can be found electrical, mechanical, thermal, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical and various other types of systems, each of which communicates with an external environment and internally with the other systems of the body. By means of a multi-level control system and communications network, these individual systems are organized to perform many complex functions. Through the integrated operation of all these systems and their various subsystems, man is able to sustain life, learn to perform useful tasks, acquire personality and behavioral traits, and even reproduce himself. Measurement can be made at various levels of man's hierarchy of organizations. For example, the human being as a whole communicates with his environment in many ways. These methods of communicating could be regarded as inputs and outputs of the black box, which are illustrated in this figure. In addition, these various inputs and outputs can be measured and analyzed in a variety of ways. Most are readily accessible for measurement, but some of those, like speech, behavior and appearances, are difficult to analyze and interpret. Next to the whole being in the hierarchy of organization are the major functional systems of the body, including the nervous system and the cardiovascular system, pulmonary system and so on. Each major system is discussed later in this chapter. Most are covered in greater detail in the later chapters. Just as a whole person communicates with this environment, these major systems communicate with each other as well as with the external environment. These functional systems can be broken down into subsystems and organs, which can be subdivided into smaller and smaller units. The process can be continued down to the cellular level and perhaps even to the molecular level. The major goal of biomedical instrumentation is to make possible the measurement of information communicated by these various systems or various elements. If all the variables at all levels of the organizational hierarchy could be measured and all their interrelationships are determined, the functions of the mind and body of man would be much more clearly understood and probably be completely defined by the presently known laws of physics, chemistry and other sciences. The problem is, of course, that many of these inputs at the various organization levels are not accessible for measurement. The interrelationship among elements are sometimes so complex and involve so many systems that the laws and the interrelationships thus far derived are inadequate to define them completely. Therefore, the models in use today contain so many assumptions and constraints that their application is often severely limited. Although each of the systems is treated in much more detail in the later chapters. Now let me discuss the human body as one system. A system is a group of similar and dissimilar units operating together for a common purpose. Okay? Now human body is such a system. The human body functions properly due to the coordinated action of the various subsystems given here. Okay? First one is the skeletal system, next one is the circulatory system, next respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system, regulatory system, reproductive system, and finally the muscular system. Let me start with the discussion of skeletal system. If we assume the human body to be a building, its framework is the skeleton. The main purpose of the skeletal system is to provide mechanical stability for the body and to protect the delicate organs inside. The skeleton also serves as a reservoir for calcium and potassium and contains the bone marrow in which blood cells are formed. The skeleton consists of 206 bones. The skeletal bones are completely enclosed by membrane called the periosteum, from which new bone is formed in the healing fractures. At top of the skeleton, cranium skull is placed. At the middle we have pelvis, At the bottom we have the foot bones. Friction in the joints is reduced by the smooth articular cartilage that covers the bone surface. These surfaces, along with the articular capsule attached to the bones, form the closed cavity. The inner surface of articular capsule is covered by a membrane that secretes a viscous and lubricating fluid. Okay. Now, next is the circulatory system. The circulatory system is a type of transport system in which the blood is the carrier for the transportation of nutrition and waste products within the body. This includes former oxygen, water, electrolytes, hormones, special secretions from the glands, as well as the nourishments. And in the latter, carbon dioxide and the waste products. The pump for this system is the heart, through which all blood flows. Blood flows into the heart from the veins, which have collected waste products as a result of the cell metabolism. The blood is then pumped from the heart up to the lungs, where the carbon dioxide is diffused out and oxygen is diffused in. The blood, now rich in oxygen, returns to the heart, from where it is then pumped out to the various organs of the body to meet the cellular needs. Many actions must occur in very timely order for this flow to be continuous. The heart beats or pumps at an average rate of about 72 beats per minute in a normal adult, although this figure can vary widely. It is all about the circulatory system. Now let me come to the respiratory system. Respiratory system is concerned with breathing and respiration. Its main organs are lungs. The respiratory system starts from the nose and ends in the lungs. We breathe through our nose. The nose has a cavity which leads the windpipe known as the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity contains some hair at the opening which filters dirt particles as the air passes through the nose. The nasal cavity is also wet at the back. We breathe through the nose. We inhale the air is free from the dirt. The breathing in is called the inspiration and breathing out is called the expiration. The air passes from nose to the windpipe and from the windpipe to the bronchi, where it is distributed to the left and right lungs. In the lungs, the airstream is distributed through the bronchial tree via the finer air tubes to the alveoli, where the gas exchange takes place. Now the digestive system. The digestive system is responsible for digesting the food one eats. In the digestive system, the food is disintegrated chemically so that it can be absorbed. The details of the digestive system will be discussed later. It starts from the mouth and it ends at the rectum. Excretory system. The excretory system removes the waste products formed during the combustion of the food from our body. The lungs the kidneys, the skin and the large intestine from the excretory system. The regulatory system can be divided into two types: the nervous system for the regulation of rapid events and endocrine system for the regulatory of slower metabolic process. The nervous system governs the rapid events like muscular contraction and secretions of most of the glands in the body, and its endocrine system works by using the hormones which are carried through the circulatory system. Reproductive system: a fetus develops through repeated cell division by means of the reproductive system. The seminal vessels and the prostate gland is the male genital organs produce two secretions which forms the semen. This semen activates the sperms and makes it mobile. The ovaries in the female genital organ produce the ova or eggs. The ovulation usually in ovulation usually one egg is detached and spends a few days passing through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, to which the sperm have swum through the uterus. When the ovum reaches the uterus, it becomes embedded in the endometrium, where the fetus is developed through repeated cell division. The fetus receives nourishment from the mother via umbilical cord and the placenta, which attaches to the brain wall. Finally, the muscular system. Movement of various parts of the body are caused by the muscles. We know that there are three kinds of muscles. Voluntary muscles, those are the skeletal muscles which work at our will. Example of arm muscles. Involuntary muscles, smooth muscles which work without our knowledge. Okay, examples of muscles in the foot canal. Okay, and the cardiac muscles which help in functioning of the heart, work day and night without any rest. Now these are all about the different subsystems which organize our whole system of human body, and it is all about this chapter. In the next chapter we will start with the technical part of this curriculum, that is the human cell and the action potential. Thank you.